Good day to all of you. Myself Rohit Dutt and I'm taking your business studies class. So students, we have started new chapter private, public and global enterprise. And in our previous class we have seen the introduction and some points related to private and public sector enterprise. Today we will be discussing the three forms of public sector enterprise. Okay. So first one is departmental undertaking, other one second public or statutory corporation, and third one government company. Clear? So today we will be discussing departmental undertaking. Before I begin, again I would like to remind you, please go through the e-PDF of this chapter so that learning could be more effective and follow the guidelines related to lockdown, stay home and be safe. Okay, so coming to our first topic, that is departmental undertaking. So departmental undertaking is the oldest and most traditional form of organizing public sector enterprises. It may be run either by central government or by state government. Clear? It is managed by the government officials and rules of central state government are applicable. It has no separate legal existence. Clear? It functions under the overall control of one ministry or department of government. Clear? And is managed by the concerned ministers. Clear? Examples are like railways, post and telegram, and defense, telephone services, etc. Clear? Now coming to second point, that is features. Okay, the second topic is our feature. Let us discuss one by one. So they are financed from the first feature, maybe they are financed from the government treasury and an annual appropriation for them is made in the budget of the government. Clear? Second point, they are subject to accounting and audit controls applicable to other government activities. Third one, the staff of departmental undertaking are government servants and they are headed by civil servants and IAS. Okay, they are recruited and compensated as per the rules of civil services and are transferable from one ministry to another. Got it? Then point number 4 can be uh, they are major subdivision of government departments. Clear? They are not a separate entity, thus they are subject to direct control of the ministry. Clear? And point number 5, their management is directly under the concerned ministry, thus they are accountable to it. Got it? Now coming to merits. First merit, the control on departmental undertaking is very effective as it is subject to parliamentary control. Second point, they are subject to accounting and audit controls, thus they have high degree of public accountability. Third can be the revenue of departmental undertaking is deposited in the treasury of the government. So this undertaking helps in increasing the government revenue. Point number 4, they are most suitable for operation when national security is concerned because of direct control of the concerned ministry. Okay, coming to limitation. First point, the departmental undertaking works under strict parliamentary control. There is too much interference of ministers and top officials. This reduces the flexibility and efficiency of the undertaking. Second point, head of the departments of this enterprise do not have decision making powers. Okay, so decisions can only be taken after approval from concerned ministry. This leads to delay in decision making. Clear? Interference and inflexibility, the bureaucrats are conservative and cautious. Therefore, they are unable to take advantage of business opportunities. Point number 4, a number of rules and regulations and lengthy channels of operation cause delay in decision making and consequently urgent matters suffer. So this lead to red tapeism and bureaucracy. Clear? Point number 5, constant interference from the concerned ministry and the politicians unduly affect the working of the public enterprise. And last point, Such enterprises are insensitive to consumer needs and do not provide adequate service.